All right, you guys, happy Wednesday. I'm fat and tired, but I am still here. So we can get right back into Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds coverage just for a little bit of this show because I kind of miss them. I miss talking about them, and I do have some news. Blake Lively absolutely must drop this lawsuit as soon as humanly possible, or at least when the judge returns and says, absolutely, we're not going to have you dismissed from it, because there is now just way too much evidence that she and Ryan are, strictly speaking, perverts themselves. Like, just honestly, they are perverted. Also, Elon Musk is out at Doge. There's some decent PR spin on it. They allegedly, quote unquote, parted ways amicably, like a divorce. I mean, we just irreconcilable differences between the Trump admin and Elon. There's a piece of me that thinks that Elon Musk might be a loose cannon. And I don't really think he's ever shied away from that fact. So let's discuss it. Lastly, a lot of you were shocked by the Harley Pasternak text messages to Ye, which shocks me because it shows you how much the media hid them. But then I got some emails from you guys, and now I'm shaken and shocked as well. So let's just all share in on that emotion. Welcome back to Candace. So by now you guys have likely worked through the fact that I'm a little bit obsessed with reading legal documents. I read legal documents before I go to bed. I don't know why I've always loved legal arguments, especially when they're brilliant. If you get a good lawyer, and there's only a very small percentage of lawyers are actually really good. And I've always enjoyed law as a hobby from a distance. And now I find myself immersed in enough random lawsuits and legal situations that unfortunately a lot of it is applied to my real life now. With that said, there is a legal doctrine that is known as unclean hands. My lawyer, Noah, who's become a friend over the years because of the things that we have gone through, he introduced me to it. It's also known as the dirty hands doctrine, which is remarkably appropriate given what I'm about to share with you. And when it's used in court, the argument prevents one party, so the person that is suing, from seeking relief if they have engaged in unethical conduct that's related to the subject of the dispute. So to give you an example, let's say you sue me for disparaging you. Like, I'm like, hey, don't hire this person. He's an idiot and he's really dumb. And you sue me for disparaging you. But then I go to court and I say to the judge, wait, whoa, but look what they said about me. And then it's a video of you and you're like, Candace is an idiot and I don't like her. It's like, this guy's got unclean hands. What are we even talking about here? How can he sue me for the stuff that he engages in himself? You can't engage in the exact same disparagement against me. It's essentially that Spider-Man meme that's super popular. This one, you guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you pointing at you. Hey, are we the same person? Yeah, we're the same person. Now, I admittedly do not know if there would be any special considerations when the subject at the heart of the legal dispute is sexual harassment, but I'm going to assume that there's not any, since the claim that Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni are arguing over is defamation, which would mean that Blake and Ryan should probably hang this one up. I think that's what's going to come next. Blake cannot claim to be a victim of sexual misconduct on the set of a movie while she openly brags about the unscripted sexual misconduct that she partakes in when she's on the sets of movies. That's exactly what she's done. Now, this was discovered by a TikTok sleuth named Elsrich TV. Her bio on Twitter is very funny because she describes herself as an F around and find out associate, which I would say all sleuths on the internet, especially the mommy sleuths, are F around and find out associates. And I would also say that Ryan and Blake have definitely F'd around, and they are at that part where they are finding out. And anyways, she was able to dig up one of these, again, directors and actors talking about certain scenes, and that's usually included if you're a dinosaur like me, the Blu-ray DVD, I think is where this one was found. And you can get all sorts of, little tidbits of them discussing how certain scenes came together. And she was able to find that for A Simple Favor, the first movie, A Simple Favor, you have Blake Lively speaking with her co-star about a scene in which she grabs his crotch, and guess who came up with it and improvised it? Well, it was Blake Lively herself. Take a listen.
Not Blake Lively confessing to grabbing her co-star's nuts because she felt like that's just what her character would do.
Wait, so am I blaming my husband for am I saying something to her?
This is
Right.
one of my favorite additions that you came up with. I think it's nuts. Yeah, when you really went for it.
That's always awkward. You're like, hey, hi, nice to meet you. Can I grab your neck? It's like really hard.
But really hard.
It's not because I want to, because I feel like she would.
Remember we kept going like, can you do, I kept going, can you do it harder?
Yeah, and that was my tip of the hat to baby Jane Hudson.
Yes.
She's spinning on the beach at the end.
Oh, it's so great. Then when you ADR'd a little extra, like, the little laughs and stuff. It's fantastic.
It's an aviation American gin again?
Wow.
Shameless.
Oh my God. I want dividends.
Okay, so just to be clear, she is speaking with Paul Feig, who's the director of the movie, and he's basically complimenting her for coming up with this little improv move of grabbing her co-star's private parts, which you can see right here in a still, and she's laughing about it, and then he laughs as Paul Feig does. He's like, it does, and he's like, what's even funnier is we were like, harder, harder, and you were so great at coming up with this move because she felt like that's what her character would do. So to recap, grabbing her co-star's genitals seems like a perfectly acceptable addition to a scene, or it did seem like a perfectly acceptable addition to a scene back in 2018, but something happened to Blake. And by 2024, she was clutching her pearls. She was clutching her pearls. She just needed nobody to say anything to her ever out of character or anything, because she moved to file a civil rights complaint in California because Justin Baldoni stepped out of character when they were filming a slow dancing scene, and he responded to her that she smelled good when she mentioned her spray tan. And that was like, oh my gosh, where is my husband? Somebody get me Deadpool. Please, somebody, I just survived. I'm a hashtag survivor now. I'm going to go to marches and I'm going to relate to people what it's like to survive when somebody responds to me bringing up my spray tan. Her entire lawsuit is how Justin Baldoni responded to her. That's actually one of the arguments she's making to be dismissed. She's like, I didn't lie. I just didn't contextualize, Your Honor. I didn't lie. He did come into my trailer while I was breastfeeding. I just left out that portion of a lawsuit, that portion of the truth, which is that I told him to come into the trailer while I was breastfeeding. So I shouldn't be sued. I'm not a liar. Now, when you couple this with Ryan's disturbing insistence that his 7-year-old daughter make that extremely crass joke, of course, about Hugh Jackman's junk, you really start to wonder what they're thinking going through with this lawsuit for another second. Remember, both of them are being asked to be dropped from Justin Baldoni's defamation suit. Ryan, because he was simply, according to him, just being a loving husband. And what husband would not defend his wife when she's being abused on set? He just happened to leave out the part, like her, didn't contextualize that while he was defending his wife, he was also simultaneously forcing his 7-year-old daughter, Inez, to make penis jokes in Deadpool. So let's listen to him just recount that moment again, speaking to the director about how funny it was because she really didn't want to do it at all. Take a listen.
With
hey,
you.
When I want your opinion, I'll take Wolverine's out of your mouth.
That's kid.
Guiltily, that is my daughter,
I'm
Inez.
so sorry we have to admit that.
And I am Father of the Year over here for allowing her to say such language, which, to her credit, she really didn't want to say, and then came back later and said, I want to say it now, when I started looking at other people to play
Yeah,
it.
but Ryan, to our discredit, we made Nezzy do I'm not you 70 to 500 versions of that line.
I'm going to pay for that later.
70 to 500 versions of that line. Why? Somebody who is a defender of Ryan Reynolds, please in the comments tell me, like, make that make sense. Maybe I'm just not hip to movies and what happens on set. Why would you need a child to repeatedly, from 70 to 500 times, say that graphic line if it's not just something that you're enjoying? Okay. And I also can't stress enough that what he did there is and should be considered a form of child abuse, because he is admitting openly that he manipulated his child by making her believe that she was not the right person for the movie role because she was unwilling to be more mature, I guess, right? Like, oh, we really need you to say this graphic line. And if you can't say it, then I understand, honey. I totally understand. We just have to search for another more mature actor who can handle this role. He said this to his daughter, okay? He said this to his daughter that he was looking for somebody else to fill the role because she wouldn't save a line. And he said this to her as the most senior person with the most power on set, a person who could have incorporated AI voice if he wanted to, if she wasn't comfortable. It's your daughter. We, bend over backwards. We're going to use AI. It's totally fine. He could have rewritten the lines entirely, as we know, because he wrote all of those meaningless lines for Nice Pool. He is the person on set who single-handedly had enough power to cast and insert Channing Tatum into the script as Gambit, kind of because he just wanted to, I think, annoy his ex-wife, Scarlett Johansson, who was working with him on a movie at the time. But essentially, this shows you that whatever Ryan wants, Ryan gets when it comes to Deadpool. All right, he even got to decide the filming schedule to accommodate the location. Remember, they filmed for the first time overseas in the UK. They were accommodating the location to match up with the schedule of his precious Wrexham football club. But when it came down to his daughter, he gave his precious 7-year-old daughter the idea that on the topic of her unwillingness to say something pornographic, his hands were tied. He was just rendered powerless. I'm sorry, my God, the boss, if you're not gonna save a line about Hugh Jackman's parts, then we're gonna have to find another actor. Oh, you wanna do it now? Oh, that's so wonderful. Wildly manipulative and also abusive. And it really makes it interesting when you reflect upon Blake and Ryan's 17 list of non-negotiable conditions for her to return to set. When you recognize that these people are constantly making perverted jokes, insisting on perverted jokes, and then you reread through that list of 17 non-negotiables, we must have an intimacy coordinator present at all times when the artist is on set, even though she, to contextualize, declined that intimacy coordinator. There's to be no spontaneous, number 3 really gets me. There's to be no spontaneous improvising of any scenes involving intimate sexual, physical touching, simulated sex, or nudity with respect to the artist. Just for some context, it actually never happened, but that's not her point. There just shouldn't be. There just absolutely shouldn't be. Now, I will say this regarding Blake Lively today, her current day PR, it does seem to me that she has completely pivoted her strategy entirely. People are calling her out on it, being mean about it, the donuts, we're going to get to that. But I actually think she's doing the right thing. I think that her PR strategy before it really just consisted of her listening to her husband, who is registering to me and the rest of the world as a malignant narcissist. Obviously, the worst PR plan ever executed following this entire debacle was the idea that they should show up at Saturday Night Live's 50th anniversary dressed to the nines in $1 million dresses. That didn't work out. Walking the red carpet amongst other A-listers, making jokes about your alleged assault or your alleged harassment. Now, she's very clearly keeping away from Ryan Reynolds, publicly. At least, right? She's very clearly pulling back. She hasn't been seen with him since. And we know that she decided to attend a Simple Favor 2 at South by Southwest solo, which is unusual for them because they do everything together. Like she says, we just do everything together. We're constantly promoting things together. And now she's realizing people maybe hate my husband more than they hate me. And so I need to do my own thing. And I need to not look like the obnoxious A-lister that I am and try to look normal, like humble myself a bit. And guess what she's doing? She's baking. This is the headline that ran. Blake Lively surprises fans by working behind the counter at a Connecticut donut shop. And it says that she was in a really happy mood. The source told people that. The source, by the way, is her PR team. It's Leslie Sloan, if you wanted to know. It's not a secret. But they did a good job with this. It says Blake Lively survived fans by working behind the counter. Like she's like a regular working woman now at a donut shop in Connecticut. That's hard work, donut shops. She went out there on Sunday and she was baking with her friends using a kitchen mixer. So relatable. She's doing it better than Meghan Markle. And she captioned it. She put it on her stories to show people. And she said, She wrote here, baking with genius food friends and their kitchen mixer, which is the size of a car. This is what my happy place looks like. By the way, it is authentic. Unlike Meghan Markle, like Blake Lively has always had an interest in cooking. And the source, again, Leslie Sloan PR, told People magazine that she was in a really happy mood and said that she is friends with the owner. This was at Rise Donuts in Wilton, Connecticut. And she's highlighted her love of baking in the past. She shared many of her culinary creations. And so this is, I have to say, this is pretty decent PR. And it's also good PR because she's with her family while she's doing this. In the background of these photos, you can see, I always tell you this, that's the actual talented sister. Like, let's not forget, Robin Lively slayed the day when I was growing up. Like, don't act like you didn't watch Teen Witch. Come on, pretty woman, won't you ride with us? Come on, pretty woman, don't you put up a fuss? I'm gonna be the most popular girl. Like, I don't know why she's not more famous than her sister. So anyways, Robin Lively being in the background is a whole vibe. It's just a whole vibe. Now, in Ryan Reynolds land, I guess he recently posted on Instagram that he visited the United Nations. I think they're probably sat down and were like, how can we make you look like a good person? It's really difficult right now. And they're like, what about saving the world, right? That's what the United Nations is supposed to be known for. I disagree with that. I think they're a bunch of NGOs. But anyways, let's get you at the United Nations. So he posted that onto his Instagram. We're supposed to imagine him as saving the world, caring about people. And I don't know if I am broken, but look at this photo that he took outside. This really annoys me. I just think he looks like a smug piece of crap. I don't like the way he's standing, but it could be me. It could be me. Maybe you guys are feeling like, no, this is good. Like, he looks like he's like a good person who might feed the children in Africa. I think he looks like he's trying to pose perfectly as if he's walking a red carpet, but it just happens to be at the UN. But again, I'm emotionally broken, so I would just ignore that. I just wanted to show you that picture and see how you guys felt about it. Anyways, I want to get back into this Harley Pasternak story with Ye and something that was brought up to me that sent a chill down my spine and is probably going to send me down a million rabbit holes. And it's going to be a really stressful maternity leave because I'm just going to be down every rabbit hole, down every Reddit feed, down every Twitter feed. Anyways, before we get to that, let me tell you about Goldco, because over the last month, we have truly seen how much wasteful spending the last administration was doing. While the Fed has been working to rein in inflation, the broader economy is still feeling the effects, particularly in everyday items like food, housing, and healthcare. If you've been worried about your savings or retirement, it's time to take a look at diversifying your savings with Goldco. Gold has been recognized as a store of wealth for thousands of years. Unlike other assets, its value is not tied to the performance of any company or government, making it less susceptible to the volatility of the financial markets. Goldco has made buying metals very simple. They're a huge supporter of this show, and they're very good at what they do. Right now, you can get a free 2025 gold and silver kit, jam-packed with great information about buying precious metals. You could also qualify for up to a 10% instant match in bonus silver. It's a really great deal, especially right now. So go to CandaceLikesGold.com to learn more. Again, that's CandaceLikesGold.com. Quick update regarding Harley Pasternak and Ye. So first off, I was surprised that you guys did not know that story. A lot of you guys had never even heard of it, which really shows how great of a job the media did in terms of protecting Harley Pasternak, and of course, naturally leads you to wanting to know why they would do that, right? Oh, it's so scandalous what was done. You would just imagine that they would be covering this extensively and that Harley Pasternak would be chased out of Hollywood, but nope, he was protected. Anyways, Val Kilmer died yesterday. And one of you guys emailed me and were like, another one of Harley Pasternak's clients died of pneumonia. I don't actually think Harley had anything to do with that one. I think he had a lot of underlying health issues, Val Kilmer. But many of you in the comments pointed out that we should do a deeper dive on Harley Pasternak in general. And you're so correct, especially because as it turns out, you guys, especially my book club peeps, we're like deep on the MK Ultra program and mind control experiments of the 60s. There was a senior person who was running the MK Ultra program, which, for those of you who are not aware, but you should be aware if you're watching the show, it was a mind control and a chemical interrogation program using, LSD, other psychotic medicines, and essentially just trying to control people's behaviors and trying to see if you could get people to commit crimes. And it was based in Canada, to be clear. It was based in Canada. And one of these senior guys, a part of this MK Ultra Canadian program, his last name was Pasternak. one of you guys emailed me this article from 1974, which was published in the Washington Post. And here's what I want to say. Shout out to all of you people who have kept and photocopied newspaper articles from like the 60s and 70s. You guys are the real heroes in life. And I promise I'm going to be that person. Like, I'm printing out and saving documents so that my kids will know what actually happened, because they're just trying to wipe history and make us forget. But I want to pull that up because we should definitely read this. Now, it's obviously scanned, but just the first couple of paragraphs. It says let me just tell you the title in the Washington Post. Senators would force 4 CIA mind controllers to testify. So the MK Ultra program was exposed. And then, of course, we always have to do the song and dance where Congress pretends like they're really going to get to the bottom of these things. And they never do. It's just these commissions that they put together to investigate, and nobody ever gets in trouble. It's basically just laughing at the public's face. Well, this article, which was written by Bill Richards, reads, 4 former members of a secret CIA behavioral control project were subpoenaed yesterday to testify publicly about the drug tests and other human mind control experiments conducted in the 1950s and the 1960s. The subpoenas were issued by Senator Edward M. Kennedy's Subcommittee on Health and Scientific Research after one of the 4, Walter P. Pasternak, did not show up at a closed subcommittee session. Okay, the subpoenas are for September 9th, and we learned that this Pasternak, a former CIA employee, had gone into hiding after notifying investigators 24 hours earlier that he would appear. Pasternak has been linked to one of the more bizarre projects in MK Ultra, the code name for the intelligence agency's mind control experiments. Senate investigators have receipts signed by the former CIA employee for $52,000 in $100 bills that were distributed to persons involved in Operation Midnight Climax. That project involved alleged prostitutes and drugs given to unwitting persons, luring them into a safe house operated by the CIA in San Francisco. Pasternak has also provided the subcommittee with a somewhat unclear account of the activities of a Society for the Investigation of Human Ecology, a CIA-funded research group that conducted human behavior experiments. In addition to Pasternak, the senators subpoenaed Dr. Sidney Gottlieb. Now, guys, I'm telling you, the Gottlieb, if you just got to read Chaos. I can't get into that right now, but like, this is like some weird stuff happened. A lot of Eastern Europeans came in here, Lithuania, Poland, and weird stuff just started happening. And the 60s, and recognizing that period of the most sadistic experimentation that could have plausibly taken place upon a population being executed by its government. It's dark and it is twisted. And is why I recommend that everybody read that book, because you have to come to terms with the fact that this stuff is real. It's all real. It's like the occult is real. It's all very real. And this guy is just, this journalist is absolutely amazing, who put together this book after 20 plus years of research. But it is interesting. And so now I feel that I need to look into the Pasternak family in Canada to see if there is any relation, because as we learned yesterday, yes, our boy Harley Pasternak, it is from Canada. He is from Toronto, and yes, he was working with the government on psychiatric programs. And here's another thread that my producer found. At the time, nobody would touch covering what Kanye was saying. They just were saying, he's crazy, don't listen to him, which is what they do, by the way, and that will get you into Sigmund Freud and learning about basically his only contribution is learning how to gaslight the public when they discover things that are going on, sinister programs. And the best way to gaslight is to just diagnose everybody and say, oh, that person's had a mental break. You see the press now engaging in this. They did this to me last year. They were like, oh, she's suffering from postpartum psychosis. I'm like, okay, all right, I guess. But they're trained to do this, to make the public believe everybody's always having a mental breakdown so that people don't listen to them. And so you get this guy, this journalist, his name is Patrick Casey. He's been published in The Federalist and The Blaze. And he put together this thread right at this time. He wrote, who is Harley Pasternak? The man whom Kanye West has accused of trying to institutionalize him, drug him into oblivion, and take his kids away. As it turns out, this personal trainer is connected to psychological operations, the Canadian military, and other strangeness. He then points out that at this time, again, this is back in 2022, that someone had removed from Harley Pasternik's Wikipedia entry two main things. One, any reference to Kanye West, and two, the lengthy list of his former clients. Curious, isn't it? Look for yourself. Here is the list of Harley's noteworthy clients. Someone doesn't want you to see this. Note that some of his former clients had mental breakdowns or died under suspicious circumstances. Mac Miller, Brittany Murphy, not listed, and others. Credit to Uncle Doomer for the last two. Also worth noting is the fact that Kanye West was hospitalized in late 2016. Where was he at the onset of his alleged breakdown? Harley Pasternik's home, of course. Note that in the text messages that Kanye posted, Harley threatens to have him institutionalized again. So he was at Harley Pasternik's home, and I knew this, and some of you guys thought that I was just like telling the public this for the first time. Some of you guys wrote, Candace, why didn't you share us before about, why you don't speak much on Kanye? Guys, YouTube took it down, but I interviewed Kanye about this. They took it down from YouTube last year. You can get it on Spotify. Just go down earlier into one of our episodes and you'll see it's me and Ye discussing what happened to him and the fact that everyone who did this to him when he was institutionalized, the doctor who gave him the drugs, and then Harley Pasternik threatening him, he spoke about how they were all Jewish. And so everyone just ignores that part. The genesis of Kanye West speaking out against Jews in Hollywood. And they're like, whoa, Kanye West's words are problematic. And I'm just wondering, if you survived what he survived, what would you be like? It's so tremendous to sit on the side of privilege and to have never had a friend and a personal trainer who invited you to his house and then drugged you and threatened to take your kids away and then called his doctor friend and got it done. Anyways, let's get back into this chain because I just want to continue it. And then he says, but just who is Harley Pasternik? He's a personal trainer, right? Let's take a look at his background. At first glance, nothing stands out. He's just an educated man with a master's degree in exercise and nutrition science. That isn't the full story. His Wikipedia page states that, quote, during his time at the University of Toronto, Pasternik served as nutrition and exercise scientist at the Department of National Defense's Defense and Civil Institute for Environmental Medicine. The Department of National Defense, DND, is the Canadian government's department which supports the Canadian Armed Forces. It's a civilization organization, a support system of sorts for the military. I'm not sure what the U.S. equivalent might be, the DOD, the DHS. Regardless, Harley Pasternik worked as a scientist for 2 years at DRDC Toronto, one of the Defense Research and Development Canadian military research stations. The DRDC is a part of the DND. What sort of stuff is researched at the DRDC? And he quotes this directly from the Wikipedia page. Human systems, integration, social and psychological factors that affect the resolution of conflict, psychology of malicious intent, social and cultural factors influencing behavior. And he goes on and says, does that say show more? You want to hit that, Skylar? And then he sums it up by saying literal psychological operations. He goes on to write, but we don't have to rely on a website to tell us. Here's Harley Pasternik in his own words, quote, working for the military, I wasn't governed by the same laws that the typical person was, so I could look at the impact of certain drugs that are not everyday things. Now, the reason why that sent a chill down my spine, because for those of you that haven't read that book, Chaos, they talk about a scene in which Dr. Sidney Gottlieb and Leslie Jolly were very clearly involved in experimenting on our military men. And one guy, they wanted to experiment to see if they could get him to commit a crime. Anyways, this guy who had never had a family, served in the military, never been arrested, never been in trouble for anything, is seen like walking with blood on his hands. And he's like, I don't know where I am. I don't know where I am. Fast forward, this guy got the electric chair for doing something, a very graphic crime that he has no memory of at all. And it's just very important that you read that book and understand that they were doing this to people who were signing up to defend their country. And it's why I am so opposed to forcing people in the military to get vaccines, experimental vaccines, because they have been experimenting on our troops for decades, and it's quite sinister. Jumping back into this thread, he says the stuff with the DND gets weirder. This branch of the Canadian government once included the Defense Research Board. The DRB quite literally funded MK Ultra, as did the CIA. So where Harvey was a scientist at and was allowed to bend the rules. Harley, pardon, was allowed to bend the rules. It was a place that literally funded MK Ultra. This program involved forced experiments with drugs, sensory deprivation, and brainwashing. He sums this up by saying, to recap, Harley Pasternak, the quote-unquote personal trainer who got Kanye institutionalized once and is allegedly threatening to do it again, have the rapper drugged and take his kids away, was a scientist at a PSYOP-oriented military research center whose work focused on drugs. Wild. Yeah, it is pretty wild. And it gets wilder when you just consider the fact that the media wouldn't report on it. So what did they know about Harley Pasternak? He's one of the untouchables, I think, is what I would say. One of the untouchables. You leave it alone, and let's just keep focusing on calling Kanye crazy and not getting to the source of what caused him to say these things. I couldn't even imagine sharing that message like Kanye did on X and probably feeling so free, like now everyone's going to understand what happened to me. And it's just crickets. And instead you get attacked and nothing happens to the person that did this to you and openly threatened to do it again. Like he admitted to a crime in the text message, in my viewpoint. Anyways, we will wrap that up for now, but I definitely am going to look more into this William Pasternak guy who was giving Congress a hard time in the 70s when they were investigating MK Ultra, because I think where there's smoke, there does tend to be fire. Now let's talk about Elon Musk. Speaking of smoke and fire, because there's some breaking news today. Elon Musk is reportedly stepping down from Doge, as I said at the top of show. The language here is interesting. Politico is reporting that Trump told his inner circle that Musk will leave soon. And it definitely sounds like there's a PR team trying to massage the breakup as something that's just, they just came to an agreement that they would be better apart. And there's a lot that I want to say here, first and foremost, because right when Elon Musk and Vivek suddenly left, I sensed that Elon Musk was the problem. And I felt that Vivek should have been leading Doge and not Elon Musk for a lot of reasons. The number one reason being stability. I have found Elon Musk to be somewhat problematic, and I'll explain to you why and see if you agree with me. But first, here are the facts, just as reported by Politico. They say that President Donald Trump has told his inner circle, including members of his cabinet, that Elon Musk will be stepping back in the coming weeks from his current role as governing partner, ubiquitous cheerleader, and Washington hatchet man. The president remains pleased with Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency initiative, but both men have decided in recent days that it will soon be time for Musk to return to his businesses and take on a supporting role, according to 3 Trump insiders who were granted anonymity to describe the evolving relationship. Why does it sound like they're like in a relationship, right? Their evolving relationship. It's like they're really trying to massage this. It goes on and says Musk's looming retreat comes as some Trump administration insiders and many outside allies have been frustrated with his unpredictability and increasingly view the billionaire as a political liability, a dynamic that was thrown into stark relief Tuesday when a conservative judge, Thursday, when a conservative judge, Musk, vocally supported, lost his bid for a Wisconsin Supreme Court seat by 10 points. Many say Elon is unpredictable, an unpredictable, unmanageable force who has had issues communicating his plans with cabinet secretaries and through the White House chain of command led by Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, frequently sending them into a frenzy with unexpected and off-message comments on X, his social media platform, including sharing unvetted and uncoordinated plans to gut the federal agencies. Trump had a cabinet meeting on March 24th where he told attendees that Musk would be transitioning out of the administration. According to one of the insiders, a senior administration official confirmed Trump discussed Musk's transition at the meeting. It's also being reported that he clashed with Susie Wiles, who is Trump's chief of staff. She has a lot of power. And from one article, it says that her frustrations stemmed from his failure to loop her into plans to gut the agencies. And Vanity Fair reports that she encouraged the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, and other cabinet secretaries to air their grievances with Musk directly to the president after they came to vent to her about him. And here's what I'm going to say about this, okay? People on the right worship technocrats like people on the left worship Hollywood. That's the reality, okay? We mock people on the left all the time. Oh, Taylor Swift says vote and then they go do it, or Oprah says vote and then they go do it. And then I see our side engaging in the exact same kind of behavior when it comes to like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Sam Altman. You know, they go to the White House. It's like, never mind, they're on our team. Like they were on our team for 5 seconds and no one's betted anything. But they're just like, I don't know. They're just like tech lords. Silicon Valley is the conservative Hollywood, in my viewpoint. The speed at which Trump instantly forgave and welcomed all of the people and just seemingly forgot everything that these tech people put the MAGA movement through in order to keep him out of office. It's just kind of shocking. Like, what was Sam Altman doing at the inauguration? Mark Zuckerberg, what were they all doing there? Just ask you that question. Elon Musk got behind Trump at the very end, right? When victory was in the sight, he was like, I am the #1 Trumper. And the next thing you know, he's like living at Mar-a-Lago and somehow also, I'm supposed to believe, running 3 businesses. Same thing when it comes to Peter Thiel, Tim Cook. It's like these people are gods, untouchable. And it's been very embarrassing for me as a conservative to watch people who are completely unable to call out their behavior that does not align with conservative principles, or at least to attempt to more truly assess what their aims are. Okay, because I don't think it's the conservation of values. Okay, or I'll ask the question, let me not be judgmental. What conservative value does Elon Musk hold dear that made him worthy of his proximity to Trump's administration? Take a second. Just like, let's take a second here. All right, we're all in a classroom. What was it? Elon Musk, what was the value that he had? And please don't say you went all in on Doge. Like he was the only person cut for the job of cutting government spending. Any business accountant worth their salt could have cut government costs. You don't need a celebrity. You don't need someone who likes rockets and space to do that. Okay, you just need a very good accountant. That, hey, could you cut? Yeah, sure. Okay, you don't need to do any press or anything. You're just going to sit here and cut. Yeah, that's what I do. I'm an accountant. Get yourself a forensic accountant. There are entire firms that specialize in this. So it can't be that. You can't be, I hope we're not that fickle. Is it a stance on family? Is there anyone who's had more baby mama drama? I have been so bothered by this, and I've been so disturbed as people are like, he's being taken advantage of. Poor trillionaire, poor gazillionaire with 19 baby mamas. He had no idea. He had no idea who Ashley St. Clair was. Oh, yeah, sure, he runs 3 businesses. He could have gone over everything she's ever put on the internet and hired a firm to do it. He could have just like bought a private equity firm and said, actually, I don't want you to do any private equity. I just want you to search Ashley St. Clair's entire life in tweets. But no, he's a victim. Okay. And recently, by the way, she was in the news because she's getting her Tesla towed and he's sniping at her on X. And it's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. He cut back her, I guess the money he was giving her was $100,000 a month. And he cut it back by 60%. So now what she's getting $40,000 a month. And could you pull this up you have to pull this up, Skylar, on X. Like the other day when he wrote under, I think it was Laura Loomer's tweet. He's like, I don't know if this is my baby, but I've thus far given her $2.5 million. And I'm still going to give her X amount of dollars per month. It was petty Betty. And this showed to me that he is an emotional man, he's an erratic man, and he will make his children suffer to get back at their baby mamas if he wants to, right? There's just no reason that she's having a Tesla towed. It's just weird. It's just absolutely weird. I don't care if people look at that and go, well, $2.5 million over 2 years is a lot of money. Yeah. When you're not sleeping with Elon Musk, it might sound like a lot of money, but like if you're going to raise the baby alone, he's not going to see the baby alone. I'm sorry. I don't really care. He's not a victim here. As I said, this is like his 15th child. Okay. Like he knows how babies are made. So it couldn't have been his stance on family that drove you towards Elon Musk. Was it a stance on faith? Are you a Christian? Or were you one of these Christians that got behind him? Because I'm pretty sure that he's a part of the transhumanist movement, meaning when are we going to turn everybody into AI movement? Okay, when are humans going to merge with robots? This is what he tweeted this morning. I couldn't even believe it. He tweeted, as I mentioned several years ago, it increasingly appears that humanity is a biological bootloader for digital super intelligence. Ah, yes, God created the human soul so that we could become slaves to tech. That's it. We're just here to load it up, have fun, tech. Yeah. And people just didn't have an issue. They're just like, this is all fine. It's all fine. What has the MAGA movement become? I'm asking a serious question. What has this movement become? Because I was down with this about, family values. I was down with this when we were fighting big tech, when we were fighting for speech. Now they're bringing in speech laws. This is getting crazy. And some people just don't have the courage. I guess everybody's just a bandwagon fan. And because Trump was on the bandwagon, everyone just got on the Elon Musk bandwagon, no questions asked. The petty behavior when he was like blocking accounts and taking away check marks because somebody disagreed with him over H-1B visas. I don't even know how you can productively run 3 businesses if that's your approach to life. If when you get angry, you try to make people suffer, whether it's your baby mama or it's someone who's just disagreeing with you over H-1B visas. That's babyish behavior. And I struggle to believe that he is heading up 3 companies if this is how he acts, because you can't unite people around that kind of behavior. And kudos to the people who had the courage to say something's not right here, who didn't go along with the crowd, who don't just follow the leader and go, well, Trump likes him, so that's enough. It's okay if he wants to turn us all into robots and put chips in our brain. No questions asked. Here's my brain, put a chip. Kudos to Steve Bannon, who called this out early. Take a listen.
He's got a glass jaw. He can't take, because of the autism or where he's on the spectrum. He's clearly not. He's got the maturity of an 11-year-old. You can tell that. But it's obvious. He can't take criticism. One of his weaknesses is that he needs to be loved. He needs the masses to love him. You can tell he's on the stage. He needs that glory. This is to have a digital ghetto and to only have raised up what praises him. That is like the little boy's mentality. If I want to be the superhero, I want to put the cape on and kind of skip around. You see this a lot in Danbury. These what they call chomos, what they call these sex offenders. They've got this. They've had a maturity level that has stopped, and they want to be. They all watch the movies that have the Cape Crusaders on there. It's an absolute indication of immaturity.
I agree. I've always agreed with Steve Bannon on that. I think he read that correctly, and it was, like I said, not a popular opinion. It's not a popular opinion because people have turned him into some sort of a superhero. And every time he does something that's completely ridiculous and indicative of the fact that he's snippy and he gets angry and that he then will use his power to try to hurt somebody, people excuse it. Oh, well, he's autistic. That's why he's taking away and publicly embarrassing one of his baby mamas. Yeah, she's the problem, actually, not him. He could do no wrong. 18, 19, 17, 3,000 baby mamas. And it's just like, he just didn't know. And we're just going to keep saying he's autistic, and we're not going to actually assess what he's doing here that stands counter to what we're supposed to believe in as a movement. Anyways, it doesn't take someone who is known to be the most eloquent person in the world to assess that something was very wrong there. And I think they're making the right move if Susan Wiles executed this behind the scenes by getting people who were probably terrified to critique him to Trump. If she did that, then I think she made a good move, because I've heard that he's quite erratic and he gets angry and he doesn't let go of things, just as Steve Bannon is describing. But also UFC fighter Bryce Mitchell called it out the earliest. He says stuff and he just was like, just you wait, just spiritually on some, I'm not feeling the vibes when it comes to Elon Musk. Here's what he said back in December. Take a listen.
You've been critical of Elon Musk. How do you feel about his involvement with the Doge?
Well, I think that time will prove me correct. Time will always reveal someone's true character, and if you put that man in a position of power, his true character will be revealed. And let's just put it this way. He has all the money in this country. He's the wealthiest man in the country, and he wasted on rockets, man. Think about it, dude. He could actually help people with that money, but he don't give a about you. He's got all the money in the world to help you. It'd be a penny to him, and you would never have to work again. He don't give a about you, though. He wants to waste it on rockets and waste it on all these cars that suck. And time will reveal the character of that man. And the more he gets under the spotlight, you can't fake it forever. His character will be revealed, and you mark my words, it will be seen that he is a rat bastard. And, if I had all that money, I would like to think I would help people more than he does.
Doge was only supposed to be an organization that lasted for 6 months. Vivek left after month 1, and I had sensed that had something to do with Elon Musk, and Vivek would have been great. I went on the campaign trail with him, and I'm telling you, he was very forthright, extremely hardworking. He doesn't drink nothing. You know, we know that Elon Musk does Special K, ketamine, and I thought that he would have done a very good job in that role. And obviously, their personalities clashed. And now it's March, and Elon Musk is gone. So, was there a lesson learned here, or are we all just going to pretend like everything is fine and normal and continue to worship people because they have a lot of money? Like that's because that's what it comes down to. We're just worshiping people because they have a lot of money and not asking meaningful questions. Anyways, you guys, you may have noticed that my skin is looking great. It's never too late to continue embracing positive change in your life. If you're ready to maintain the new year, new me momentum, look no further than Nimi Skincare. From gentle formulas to luxurious treatments, Nimi offers everything you need to keep your skin glowing. Right now, if you use code Candace10 at checkout, you'll enjoy 10% off your order. Whether you're pampering yourself or surprising a loved one, now's the perfect opportunity to try Nimi's transformative skincare at a great price. Nimi Skincare isn't just another beauty brand. It's a celebration of faith, family, and freedom, proudly made in the USA. So if you're looking for something extra gentle, you can try Nimi's clean, fragrance-free formulas. They're extremely ideal for sensitive skin and those seeking a pure approach to self-care. Again, use code Candace10 today at NimiSkincare.com. That's spelled Nimi skincare.com. Promo code Candace10, and you'll save 10% on your purchase. Give yourself or someone special the gift of glowing, refreshed skin, and keep that fresh start feeling going strong well into 2025. That's NimiSkincare.com, promo code Candace10. Also, before we get to comments, I'm reminding you guys about home title lock. It's super important because there are scammers that can literally steal your home right out from under you. The FBI calls it house stealing, and it's a growing real estate scam that targets American homeowners. And here's how it works. Basically, criminals just forge your signature on one document. They use a fake notary stamp. They pay a small fee, and then they file it with your local recorder's office. And just like that, your home title has been transferred out of your name. It's that easy. If I ask you right now, when was the last time you checked your home title, you're probably going to answer like me and say, well, never. And that's exactly what scammers are counting on. That's why I trust my home now to Home Title Lock. Their $1 million triple lock protection helps keep your home and equity safe. With Home Title Lock, you'll get immediate 24/7 monitoring of your property, urgent alerts if there are any changes, and if fraud should happen, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title at no additional cost. And here's the best part. I've teamed up with Home Title Lock to give you a free title history report so that you can find out if you're already a victim and access your personal title expert. As a $250 value just for signing up. So go to HomeTitleLock.com and use my promo code Candace250, or just click the link in the description. That's HomeTitleLock.com. Promo code Candace250 to get the protection and peace of mind that you deserve. All right, you guys, let's take a look here at some of your comments, see what is going on. What is on your guys' mind? Okay, we have Nelly. Nelly writes, the fact that Ryan Reynolds thinks it was a good idea to take a picture in front of a gun statue is so cringe. He's like, I just got to kill Justin Baldoni one more time. No, it is cringe. Thank you. I said to my team, I'm like, am I bitter? Am I a bitter baby mama or something? Because I just feel like this picture made me angry. I was like, he's just, like it just stop. The way he is standing is just so practiced and rehearsed. And I didn't even think about the fact that he's just like, gotta kill Baldoni one more time. Yeah, probably not a good idea to do that. Joanne I Am writes, I live in a very rural part of Wisconsin, and I mentioned you to my hairstylist. She said that she loves you too, and she listens to your show daily. Hoping we could be in your clan when the apocalypse hits. Yeah, you guys know me and my husband play apocalypse. It just means like, oh, if everything goes down and we have to live in the woods, who will we let be in our clan? And I don't know, Joanne, because you haven't said anything about yourself other than you live in a rural part. I guess I can assume some things about you that it means that you do have some basic survival skills, but you also mentioned it to your hairstylist. Like, are you going to be okay if you can't get your hair highlighted? I don't know, Joanne. The jury is still out, okay? Anwar writes, my wife and I live in New York. We have 2 small boys getting ready to start school. Neither of them are vaccinated, and New York overturned vaccine exemptions. Do you have any advice? Should we hire an attorney? I always feel so bad when I say this, but when you are raising a family, leave New York or LA. Leave New York, California. They already own your kids. They are so far deep into it, because when I looked through the legislation for my series, A Shot in the Dark, this was a recurring question, and it is insane. Like, they are like locking up pediatricians who don't vax children when they find out they don't do it. And I just think it's too far gone in those states. And I will tell you that if you leave New York, you will be happier and you will be freer. And I hate to say that, but it has to start with legislation. And New York and California they are so far into the future on making sure that parents have absolutely no rights over their children. And I'm even talking like You don't even get to decide your child's gender in these states. Forget vaccines. Like, they will literally come take your child if you don't call them by the right gender, which is very scary. And hopefully people will wake up about that. Ronnie writes, Candace, please do a shot in the dark about birth control. I feel I have been brainwashed. Christ is king and you're great at speaking truth. Already did it. Already shot it. That is our next season that is dropping. Once we are done with all the vaccines, then we will be releasing the episodes relating to birth control. And it is dark and it is scary and it is twisted, learning the history of it. I will never allow my daughter to take it. And if she I'd say just bring me home a baby. Bring me home a baby and a husband, girl. I'll raise my grandkids before I ever let you poison yourself like that. So scary what we don't know about the history of it. Lauren writes, thank you for always bringing truth. Huge fan. HI writes, Candace, you might be right about the personalities, but you cannot deny the technology that Musk has developed. I'm just wondering if he developed it. Like, I'm at the stage now where I don't understand how you're running 3 companies. You have this erratic behavior. You have people that are talking about how you take a lot of like special K virtually everywhere and you can't seem to get along with people. How are you running 3 businesses? Like, was it just like a government business and you're just the face of it? Like, is it a government business? I don't know. I really don't. But because no one has actually pressed Elon Musk because they're either worshiping him or hating him, and there's no like even person who is like, I don't hate you and I don't worship you and I'd like to ask you some tough questions. I can't get to the bottom of how I feel about him, but I just know that I spiritually feel off. I've always felt off about it. And I think he's a part of the transhumanist agenda. That's truly what I believe. And all of those people, they just have a look in their eye that scares me. I'm talking about like Sam Altman, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk. There's something about, like, it's almost like they're computers. I feel like I'm looking at a computer. And I don't know. I just don't like it. Cheryl says, praying for you and Bryce Mitchell and a victory in his next fight. Candace, love you. Thank you so much. Nick Brown writes, the level of finding out is directly proportional to the amount of effing around. That is brilliant. These are the kinds of mathematical equations that need to be brought to the public. So it seems, I think it is fair to say that there was a lot of effing around and it is now proportionate to the finding out for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' career. So we have that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we go, I want to remind you guys about American financing because interest rates have dropped and it's time to take advantage. A lot of Americans are struggling to keep up with everyday bills. That's eggs, coffee, and a lot of people are reaching for the credit card to pay for these things. They should not be reaching for the credit card to pay for these items. If you're a homeowner, interest rates have fallen into the 5s, and that's nearly a quarter of the average credit card rate. American financing is helping homeowners like you save an average of $800 a month by tapping into your home's equity and wiping out high interest debt. And the best part is that there are no upfront fees to get started. Credit card rates are insane. If you're carrying a balance every month and you're stuck in an endless cycle, break free today. Call American Financing and see how much you could be saving. And if you start now, you may even be able to delay next month's mortgage payments, next 2 months' mortgage payments, actually. So call 800-795-1210. Again, that's 800-795-1210. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Owens. That's AmericanFinancing.net/Owens. Guys, you can visit the website, CandaceOwens.com. We did something great. We added French, Spanish, and German subtitles. They're now available at CandaceOwens.com. It's something that we really had to do because our audience is becoming increasingly more international, especially since the Becoming Brigitte series. I have more stories for you, by the way. I'm going to one day have to bring Noah on this show. He's not going to allow me to tell you what I want to tell you right now. But there's like still stuff going on with Macron. Like he's a crazy person. I'm sure you've seen he just is basically saying that his number one adversary can't even run in the elections. And he's gone mad. He's truly gone mad over people finding out about his wife's penis. And I feel like he's blaming me. And I feel like he should be blaming his wife for grooming him and having a penis rather than blaming me for the fact that the public is finding out that his wife was born a boy and then grew up to be a strong man who groomed him. And I just feel like it's just not fair. Like I'm always being blamed for things that I didn't do because I speak about the things. Like don't blame me for finding out about MK Ultra. Be upset MK Ultra happened. Don't blame me that your wife grew a penis. Okay, I don't even know who you can be upset with, but he's very upset with me. He is very upset that this is the series that won't stop. Like it's like the number one YouTuber in Bulgaria has picked it up. It's everywhere. And so now he just wants war and he wants violence. And he's lost the plot because everyone is recognizing that his wife's penis is a detriment to his career. And he just never wanted to be found out, you know? Anyways, I'm just opening up to you guys about Macron's wife and her penis. And I just feel like I'm being unfairly blamed. Okay. And as the person pointed out in the comments, the proportion, as the mathematical equation is, the proportion is direct. It's directly proportional. The level of finding out is to the level of effing around. And he did a lot of that effing around, and now he's finding out. Anyways, you guys, we'll see you tomorrow.